Hello, this is a Unit 6 Mastery assignment, City School Sports Complex. This presentation is put together by Jacob Burton for the Project Management course taught by Professor Jackson at Southwestern College Professional Studies. All right, jumping right in. In this presentation, I'll talk about the City School Sports Complex project and the different components that make up the project, initiating, planning, execution, and closure considerations. The different considerations I will cover are the project estimation, costs and resources, program risk, reducing project duration, outsourcing, monitored metrics, key aspects of closing the project, 5 key closeout activities, project audits, potential environmental concerns, the conclusion, and the supporting references. All right, going into the project. So, the city of Kettering, Ohio recently purchased 25 acres of land from a farm near the high school and would like to use the space to create a new sports complex for its high school and middle school baseball and softball teams. The city would like the complex to have 4 fields total, with 2 of them being used for softball and the other 2 being used for baseball. The project would also include a centralized facility that has room for scorekeeping, concessions, and restrooms, and another facility to store field equipment and maintenance materials. The city has a budget of $2 million and would like the project to be completed in 2 years to host the district and state softball tournaments. So, approaching this project, we'll go ahead and start kind of talking through the schedule, the project estimation, the schedule for how this is going to look. So the project will be organized into 9 phases over the course of 2 years to allow sufficient time for various tasks. Breaking the schedule into 9 phases will also allow for better monitoring and control of the project and help with resource allocation and risk management. The first year will be the planning, design, and site preparation. The second year will consist of construction and finishing the project. Broken down by phase, the project will consist of initial planning and approvals, conceptual design, site clearing and grading, utility and foundation work, field installation, facility construction, final field work and equipment installation, landscaping and final touches, and then finally the opening. All right, let's talk about project costs and resources. For the most part, baseball and softball complexes are straightforward projects and take place all around the country. Stadium Lights Pro provides a general overview of work that you would want to accomplish and gives rough estimates of material, labor, and equipment costs for building a typical baseball park. In general, a baseball park can cost around $80,000 to build from the ground up. So the estimated cost for the fields will be $320,000, leaving about 1.7, just under that million, to complete centralized building, the storage facility, the parking lot, and take care of some of the other supporting roles. So the centralized building with concessions, restrooms, and scorekeeping, it's going to be the largest cost in this project, and it's about $625,000 to finish it up. This price assumes about $400 per square foot. Will cover the construction, utilities, and furnishing of the facility. The parking lot will need to be large enough to support 200 vehicles and will be around about $85,000. The storage facility will be the smallest building expense, with a 2,000 square foot steel storage building costing also about $85,000. The other supporting roles cost about $401,000 and will round out the project. Additionally, we're going to be carrying about $300,000 of contingency funds for the project. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is program risk. So the project team in general will be focusing on 5 key risk areas for this project. The areas are weather delays, labor shortages, material delays, cost overruns, and stakeholder approval delays. So frequent weather impacts could disrupt the schedule, particularly during site prep and field construction. Mitigations for that are going to include scheduling buffers and covering materials, stuff like that. Skilled labor shortages could delay progress on facilities and field construction. So the strategies for that include partnering with multiple contractors and considering temporary labor sources. Supply chain issues could delay materials like steel or concrete, impacting the centralized facilities timeline. So how do we address that? Well, pre-ordering critical materials helps reduce that risk. Cost increase in materials or labor could strain the budget. Contingency funds on regular budget reviews help manage this risk. Delays in stakeholder sign-offs, especially near project completion, could affect the final delivery. Proactive communication and phase reviews helps mitigate that. Okay, next is moving along to reducing project duration. So in the event that we have to do this, right, to reduce the project duration, the project team can accelerate different areas to speed key parts of the project along. During this project, there are a few ways that the project manager can accelerate it. The first is called fast tracking. Fast tracking involves accomplishing tasks sooner or simultaneously with other tasks in the project. For example, the sports complex storage facility could be constructed at the same time the fields are being graded. This strategy would work because the storage facility does not rely on the fields being graded, but was scheduled to be completed later in this project. The second is increasing the workforce. As it sounds, hiring more workers or engaging multiple subcontractors can expedite the labor-intensive parts of the project, such as site preparation, facility construction, plumbing, and electrical work. There are multiple labor-intensive parts of the project, and increasing the workforce could significantly decrease the timeline, but at the same time, it would drive up cost. The third is reducing the scope of the project, right? This is probably the most common one, where do less so you can complete it sooner. The method identifies any elements of the project that are non-essential or can be at least postponed. In other words, we're going to basically figure out what would be required to host the district and state softball tournaments in 2 years. So if you look at it from that approach, you don't need the baseball fields, you don't need path landscaping, you won't necessarily need the centralized facility either. You just need the fields and some supporting equipment for it and some of the supporting structures. Given that the overall project is planned for 24 months, removing the baseball fields and centralized facility from the project could potentially reduce the timeline anywhere from 4 to 12 months, depending on overlap and efficiency of other tasks. And it would reduce the cost by at least 30%. Okay, moving along to outsourcing. So another way a project can be accomplished is through outsourcing. So you can do it in-house or you do outsourcing. As it sounds, it's using agencies outside of your organization to accomplish tasks. So this can benefit an organization in various ways, but it can be limiting. An advantage of outsourcing is that using other organizations can allow your organization to overcome resource deficiencies or scheduling problems. In this project, nearly all of it is already planned to be outsourced. This is due to the lack of resources, equipment, and expertise to execute the project. The City of Kettering does not maintain government construction capabilities, but relies on local businesses to accomplish those tasks. Additionally, it's preferable to contract with companies that have experience in designing sports complex facilities, baseball and softball fields, and specialized lighting equipment for the fields. Using these specialized companies increases the likelihood of the project being completed sooner or on time, and results in a better quality project or product. One of the disadvantages, though, of outsourcing is the complexity of communicating requirements and scheduling. Outsourcing also requires close coordination with various agencies, and any impacts to those agencies can have second or third order effects on the project. Outsourcing should keep the project cost and schedule where it's planned right now, but the project team could look into alternative options in case the different agencies cannot meet schedule requirements. Next to be discussed are the monitored metrics. So the project team will provide continuous work progress feedback, and the project manager will compare the data against the planned schedule. The data will provide the project manager with the necessary information to determine any schedule variance and will inform decision making for accelerating tasks or reprioritization efforts to complete the project on time. The manager will also closely monitor budget variances to determine the planned costs versus the actual costs for each phase of the project and overall. Additionally, the project manager will use a cost performance index to represent cost efficiency of the project and will determine the earned value to combine scope, schedule, and resource measurements to assess project performance and progress. To monitor quality, the project manager will interface with the different inspectors and track the inspection outcomes. Additionally, the project team will track what types of materials are being used for the project and that those materials adhere to the design specifications. When monitoring and controlling resource utilization, the project manager will track labor productivity, equipment utilization, and the materials. The project team will calculate how much work is being completed per labor hour, for every task to identify bottlenecks or inefficiencies. Additionally, the project manager will need to understand the expected machinery and materials use to ensure that they're both in the correct place at the correct time and that they're not being underutilized. Another area that the project manager will want to track closely is risk management. This involves tracking active and resolved risks to mitigate the ongoing or emerging issues. The project manager will also track regular stakeholder feedback. This will be accomplished during the City Hall meetings. The project team will want to make sure that they understand the community's concerns regarding the project and that the team is using transparency regarding the budget and schedule. Additionally, the project team will track the communication response times between stakeholders and contractors. Moving right along to the key aspects of project closure. So there's several in this project. It's important to have a plan for project closure as it ensures the completion of all project deliverables. The first that the team will address are comprehensive inspections. This is going to be of all construction elements, including fields, facilities, lightings, utilities, to verify that it all meets specifications and quality standards. The second is going to be testing and commissioning the different sports complex systems. They'll test and commission all systems such as lighting, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, what have you. The third is the project team will ensure all deliverables are documented, including as-built drawings, manuals, the final designs. So this documentation has to reflect any changes made during the construction. And additionally, they'll want to record project specifications, warranties, stuff like that. The fourth aspect for closure is the need to review and settle all outstanding payments with contractors, suppliers, and service providers, and compare final expenses with the budget to identify variances and close financial accounts for the project. The fifth aspect for closure is contract closeout and legal compliance. So the team's going to have to make sure that all permits, inspections, regulatory requirements are met and documented. The sixth is the risk closure and safety documentation. So the team's got to review all the risks to ensure everything's been addressed and that any lessons learned are also documented. They'll want to compile all of that for future reference for future projects. The seventh aspect will be stakeholder handover and orientation. That's kind of just what it sounds like, turning it over to the stakeholder and making sure that they have what they need to operate the facility, manage it, maintenance, stuff like that. The eighth will be to conduct a post-project review with the team to capture all lessons learned regarding budgeting. So scheduling, risk, management, quality control. The team will document key takeaways to improve processes for future projects. The last aspect of closure, and perhaps the most fun, is celebration and recognition of the team. So I want to make sure that you fit that in there too. During this project, the team will need to audit their processes, finances, and quality. The different areas will allow the team to correct issues that affect the cost schedule and performance of the project. Afterward, the team will examine the final financial state, project closure, and lessons learned. This will allow the team to thoroughly review the expenses against the approved budget and identify the efficiencies and areas for improvement in financial management. It will also allow the team to assess whether the project met its objectives and document the successes and challenges encountered during the project. All right, well, completing the project is going to basically involves several environmental concerns, or at least a couple that are readily identifiable. So environmental concerns, they're internal and external factors that can be both positive or negative on the project team and are out of the project team's control. So the project team has to account for them. Big one with this project is the climate. So it's in the Midwest United States. During the spring and fall seasons, you have kind of crazy weather. It kind of happens real quick. So the project team will have to utilize its time wisely during good weather and properly plan their work during the bad weather. Additionally, the project team will need to have a good plan for security for the site materials while work isn't being accomplished in the bad weather. So got to have a way to track all that stuff and make sure it's secure. Moving right along to the end here is the conclusion of this. So completing this sports complex will be challenging, but the project team delivered a solid plan to complete the project on time to the desired quality standards and at the desired price range. The project's success will highly rest on the team's ability to overcome the inevitable challenges along the way. The risk management plan will help address the foreseen issues, and the project team will continue to monitor the project for existing and new risks and make sure that they're managing that along the way. Through proper execution of the plan and adapting to unexpected changes, the project team will deliver a sports complex to serve the community for a very long time. So the areas that we discussed in this presentation were the city school sports complex of the project, the project estimation, costs and resources, program risks, reducing project duration, outsourcing, monitored metrics, key aspects of closure, 5 key closeout activities, project audits, potential environmental concerns, and this conclusion. Here are the references that were used to inform this project. Thank you for your time.